Hi, Stitchy friends. This is Heather, the 20-minute Stitcher. My pronouns are she, her, and you have found my little corner of the internet where I talk about cross stitch. So welcome if you are new. I hope you'll like what you'll see. I hope you will like what you see and that you will choose to click subscribe, like the video, do all the YouTube-y things. And for my returning viewers, welcome back. I am back earlier than expected. So it has been only 2 weeks since my last Flosstube, and I typically now film on a monthly schedule. But friends, I've been stitching a lot and I've been having fun, and I just wanted to hop on and share with you. I think now that, as I had hoped, now that my daughter's off to college, my son is back in school, my huge, biggest event of the year at work is done, I have really been finding time to stitch again, and it's been wonderful. So let's start with just kind of a quick show of my stats. So in the last 2 weeks, I have stitched 1,500 stitches on 4 different projects. So I'm super excited about it. I will say I purchased myself an early birthday gift. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw the picture of it. I did finally, after hemming and hawing and hesitating because of the cost for probably 2 years, I did finally purchase myself a Lowry stand from my local needlework shop. And I understand everyone who said it completely changed their stitching. It is, and I should say, I have had a lap stand for years that I use probably 60% of the time that I stitch. The Lowry is so much better. I am so happy I purchased it, and it has definitely added not only speed, but also just comfort and therefore enjoyment to my stitching. So, I know they are expensive. I know they are not, within everyone's budget. They kind of really aren't within mine. I decided to treat myself to an early birthday gift. And my parents basically paid for half of it as their gift to me for my birthday as well. So, I definitely recognize it's a privilege to have one, but, love it, and it has been making my stitching so much more enjoyable. So because I've been stitching so much, I just wanted to hop on. I was feeling excited about what I've done and what I've accomplished so far this month, and I wanted to share it with my stitchy friends. So let's go ahead and jump in. As I said, I've worked on 4 projects since my last video, and kind of in no particular order. I will say, I think this month, my membership in Whip Warriors has really motivated a lot of my stitching. So if you're not familiar, Whip Warriors is a closed Facebook group. They will open again in November for new members. It is a participation required group, but I am finding that participation, earning what you need to stay in the group, isn't super difficult. Though I definitely worried about myself for a month or 2 there when I wasn't stitching at all. But so actually, I want to say thank you to Laura, the Stitching by the Shore. She's a member of Whip Warriors, talks about Whip Warriors in her videos a lot. And that's sort of what sparked my interest in exploring it. And it's taken some time. They do lots of different events and games just to help motivate and make your stitching some more fun. Some of them I tried and they just totally stressed me out. So I think I have found the types of events that I like, which are kind of not the word games ones and the ones where you have to specifically find certain projects that fit certain prompts. I am finding that I am enjoying more the sort of general themed ones. So they have a weekend every month called Strident Sal, where you pick a stitch along that you're working on to focus on for that weekend. They have one weekend a month where it's just a focus. So Focus September, where you just pick one whip and you just focus on it for the weekend. And then this month in September has been Smalls September, where they're challenging you to work on and finish as many of your smalls, defined as projects less than 100 by 100 stitches. So to work on and finish as many of those as you can. And so that's what I have to show you today. I've worked on 3 smalls, 3 smalls, and then the project that I chose for my focus weekend. So that's sort of what you're seeing here. So for my focus weekend, these aren't necessarily in the order I stitched on them, but I'll kind of do them in the order of kind of the grouping. So for my focus weekend, I chose to pick out St. Julian of Norwich by Quaternion Creations. And let me cut over and show you where she was before. So this is where Julian of Norwich was before. And I'll put up on the screen a picture of what the finished chart will look like. I forgot to pull that up on my computer before I started filming. So I'll put that up on the screen. that is what she will look like when she is done. And I put over 800 stitches in on her. If you're new to my channel, I do not iron for my videos, so there are wrinkles and hoop marks, and I hope you'll just bear with me. It's a very unfortunate place for the needle minder. Hold on. let me move it out of the way a little bit here. And this is where Julian is now. So like I said, over 800 stitches added. A lot of that brown, I think it's 938. There's a lot of that brown, but I'm really happy with how she's coming together. So a lot more of her wimple done. I finished her collar, and these are cat whiskers. If you're wondering, like, what are those weird horizontal lines? So that is Julian of Norwich. This is being stitched on a 32 count. I think it's 32 count. I know that it is Dust Bunny by Fox and Rabbit is the fabric, but I'm pretty sure it's a 32 count. And it's just being stitched with all of the called for DMC. So she'll go away for a little while now, but was really happy to sit down that weekend, that focus weekend. And like I said, get over dropped a project. Get over 800 stitches in on her. And then the rest of the month, I have been focusing on the smalls September stitches. I don't know how many I will finish, although I think I will finish one today. But I have definitely been making progress on some of my more dense smalls, I guess is a way to phrase it. So one of the ones that I worked on, I think this was the first one I worked on, is Spell of the Moon by Blackbird Designs. So here's what the finished chart will look like. I do not have a picture of the most recent place that I was, although I think I shared this in my last video. So you could always, if you really wanted to know, could always go back there and look at it. But I can also describe for you sort of where I was. But here is where it, whoops, a little too close. Here is where it is now. So as part of Smalls September, I finished the side border down here. I added this branch. I finished outlining the tree up to this point. And I only had about 3 or 4 rows of the tree trunk at the bottom stitched before, as of the filming of my last video. So this one's coming along. This is definitely one of those smalls that's deceptive in the amount of stitching that is left on it, because it doesn't really look like that much, but it really is. The tree, there's a lot of the tree left to do, and then there's a full moon behind the owl still to stitch. The owl also gets filled in with another color, and then I have just some random little motifs of black kind of that go in here. The fence over here isn't finished. I don't know why. I mean, I think it's literally 4 stitches. I guess I ran out of thread and then forgot to go back and finish them. So I would say there's probably still a good, for my stitching schedule, probably a good 7 to 10 stitching sessions left, unless I get an afternoon where I just go ham on it. But that is Spell of the Moon. I am stitching this with my own flosses, not the called for. I'm staying true to the color palette designed by Blackbird Designs, but otherwise I just sort of chose flosses from my stash to stitch with. And the fabric is a hand-dyed Ada from my friend Nessa, so it's a one-of-a-kind thing that was for a Halloween exchange in our cross-stitch chat group. Next whip is Cat-O-Lantern by Luminous Fiber Arts. So here is what that will look like when it is done. And I do have a picture of where it was the last time that I would have shared it with all of you. So that is where he was before. And here is where he is now. So I finished the center, or most of the center. I finished the cat and the pumpkin and the jack-o'-lantern. So this is being stitched 2/2 on, what is this fabric? Is this Vintage Country Mocha? Did I put the fabric in here? Sorry, I'm just checking my Notion quickly to see if I put the fabric in here. I did not, because that would be too helpful. I'm fairly certain this is a Vintage Country Mocha. Not 100% sure though. But there he is. Now I am stitching this again with my own flosses that I pulled from Stash. So again, staying true to Misty's color palette, but just choosing flosses from my own stash. So they're a total hodgepodge of colors. Some of them are the called for, like the bright orange, I believe, is the called for DMC conversion. The black for the cat is a Brennan Needle color. Belle Island Ore, I believe, is the color. I love the variegation on it. The mouse is a gray MPI silks. So yeah, it's sort of a hodgepodge of threads in here. So all that's left on this now, again, more than it looks like, there is a moon and then sort of a Quaker motif kind of up here in either corner. And then there is a border around the outside. But this one's also going away for a little bit. He'll probably come back out in October. I really find this one very fun to stitch on. So I'm sure he will come back out in October for some Halloween stitching. And then the last project that I worked on that I think I might actually finish today is from the 2023 Just Cross Stitch. Oh my gosh, get out of the bag. The 2023 Just Cross Stitch holiday issue of Christmas ornaments. It is by My Big Toe Designs. I'm trying to see if I can do this without showing the chart. And it is Comfort and Joy is the name of the chart. It's a little teeny tiny little guy. I think it's only like 46 by 36. I am stitching this with the called for DMC on a 40 count honey from Bestitch Me. And again, my needle minder is in a very unfortunate place. Let me move it. There we go. And it's still in the hoop because, like I said, I was working on it last night and I will probably finish it up today. So that is Comfort and Joy. So all I have is the motif at the bottom and there's a little flower that goes next to the word comfort, and then this will be done. So like I said, I'm hoping to finish it today. Today is Sunday, September 14th, 2025. So it is, I'm a football girly. I'm not usually an NFL girly, but my daughter's college marching band is actually marching performing at halftime of the NFL team closest to their campus, which, by the way, it's not that close. It's like an hour away. But I'm not overly hopeful that the television broadcast will show them at all, but I'll be watching the game anyway, just in case. So I will have lots of stitching time today while watching football. So that is Comfort and Joy. Yay! So like I said, I don't know that I'm going to return to, so when I first started my Flosstube, I was an every other week filmer. And then as life got busier, schedules got busier, I backed off to once a month. As of now, I think that's probably where I'll stay. Like I said, I've not been stitching much lately at all. And the fact that I have been stitching so much these past 2 weeks, I was just excited and I wanted to share with my friends. So that is all of my stitching. I do have some acquisitions. I figured I would share those today too. So first, before acquisitions, plans. I know I mentioned in my last video the perhaps poor choice I made. I shouldn't say poor choice. It's going to be wonderful. But I did mention that I am starting a new project with Laura of Stitching by the Shore. And I know Sloan Stitches is sort of also starting. So back up. Laura and I are going to be starting Autumn Hollow from the Six Portals series by Rose Kahn, charted by Paine Free Crafts. I will put a picture up on the screen. It is an insane chart. It is gorgeous, and it has so many of my favorite autumnal things in it. But it is 202 stitches across by 800 stitches down. She's a big girl. We'll see if I ever finish it in my lifetime, but I really want to because it is beautiful, and I already have like the vision of where in my house I would hang it. I would turn it into a bell pull and make it just as beautiful, almost like tapestry-like thing hanging on my wall, but I have to stitch it first, and it's kind of madness. But Laura and I are starting this on the first day of autumn, which this year in the Northern Hemisphere is September 22nd, Monday, September 22nd, according to Google. And like I said, she's a big girl. I purchased a 25 count, just even weave, just white for it, on 25 count fabric over 1. It is going to be 3 feet long. So here is, you see my fabric doesn't, how far back do I have to go before it even, yeah, so far back. Oh boy. I question my decision, but it'll be fun. And as I mentioned, Sloan Stitches chose a different portal. If I understood her correctly in her last video, it was somewhat inspired by me and Laura, but she chose a different of the portals. I don't think she's planning to start on the first day of fall, but we'll be starting that soon as well. So you can check out Sloan Stitches. So that is, I have some of the floss ready to go. I have to go pull. There are 90 colors in this chart, so I am not going to be putting all of them in my project bag. I uploaded the chart to Markup RXP, and I'm going to kind of go through kind of the top 4 pages and see kind of what colors do I need for those top pages. And I'll pull those colors if I don't already have them in here. So that will be getting a start in a little over a week. And then now acquisitions is a needlework marketplace happened in August, and I did order 3 charts from there, and 2 of them I already have kitted, and 1 I maybe have kitted. So this is where I need some help from you guys, and maybe I'll also, I don't know, I'm so terrible at Instagram, but I need to maybe get a poll up there too. Anyway, let's go through what I got. So one of the charts I purchased was Here There Be Dragons by Sprouting Lupine. I'm very excited about this because this is my first Sprouting Lupine chart. I actually have never stitched anything by Sprouting Lupine, and this chart is absolutely beautiful. And I'm really excited to get started on it. It is 125 by 98, 4,427 stitches. I ordered these from my local needle workshop, and as often happens, I'm sure all of you watching who have a local needle workshop near you can relate. You go in to pick up what you pre-ordered, and then you walk out with so much more. In my case, I walked out with a Lowry stand. But I also decided to just kit up the chart while I was there, at least with the flosses. So it uses Gentle Art flosses, antique lace, ruby slipper, and adzuki. So those are the 3 Gentle Arts colors. And then it also calls for espresso bean, which my LNS didn't have, but I did notice that my LNS has started to carry a small selection of color and cotton. I have never stitched with color and cotton, but I know many of you are devotees of their floss. And so I chose black oak, which is essentially espresso bean. So espresso bean's DMC equivalent is 3371, which is that very, very dark brown. And I figured black oak fit the bill. So I'm excited to be stitching with my first color and cotton floss with this chart. I didn't buy fabric because I had on hand, I knew I had at home, this piece from the Dragon's Mystery Box that Bestitch Me did last year. This is called Dragon's Lair, a 32 count Jobelin. Beautiful. Love Brandy's fabrics. And I think these colors are going to look great on this fabric. So this is kitted. This is ready for me to start. I apologize if you can hear rattling in the background. One of my cats is trying to break into my office. And she's being very noisy against the door. So if that is coming across on the video, I apologize. But anyway, so that is Here There Be Dragons, all kitted, ready to go. I have it in this project bag from Black Cat X Stitchery. If you are a returning regular viewer, you know that I'm part of her quarterly bag club and absolutely love her bags. The next chart I purchased is Support Your Local Murder by Dirty Annie's. Again, longtime viewers will know I absolutely love crows, dragons, crows, love them. This chart didn't really get my attention that much at first until I saw these two little guys right here. They're chest bumping. I mean, for real. Does anyone else do this? Where you will buy an entire chart because of like one motif or one element of it that you just think is amazing. Yeah. I mean, it's super cute. I love this chart anyway. But that one did it in for me. I was like, yep, doing that. My LNS did not have the called for floss, which is carriage black. So instead I purchased Black Crow. It seemed appropriate. And here's where I need some help. So I have two different fabrics in my stash that I think could work. I didn't necessarily want to completely mimic the model, but I did want it to be, I think, now I say this and then I'm going to go look in my colors today as well. So I store my fabric sort of organized by, and one bin is sort of neutrals, or what I define as neutrals, and then the other bin is colors, right? And sort of, so everything that's super bright and vibrant and things like that I have in there. But I have two neutral fabrics that I pulled out. One is a lighter one. This is Primrose by Forbidden Fiber Co. And then the other is Dragon Dust. I have no idea who the dyer is. This was out of like a remnants bag at my LNS that I purchased a little bit ago. And I'm just wondering, thoughts? What do we think looks best? Or should I go kind of wild and do like a bright color? So here are the options. Lighter, darker fabric. I mean, I feel like the black pops on either one. I mean, I feel like this maybe is an unfair question because I'm basically using black thread, so it pops on just about everything. But definitely welcome your thoughts. Darker, lighter, Dragon Dust, or Primrose? Let me know in the comments what you think. Or if you have an idea for like a bright, vibrant color that you think would be really great for this chart. And again, here's the chart. Let me know in the comments what you think. I am open to suggestions. I'm not going to be starting this one anytime super soon, but maybe in October, maybe for a Halloween start. I don't know. I have so many Halloween charts that need like actual love and attention. This one might wait until 2026 for a start, but definitely still welcome your either vote on the neutrals or suggestion for something else that you think would be awesome with that Black Crow floss. And then the last marketplace purchase I made was one that I've been seeing on lots of Flosstubes. It's not a new chart. I don't know if it's a re-release or kind of what the story is there. It was the first time I had seen it, but I know Laura purchased it of Stitching by the Shore. Caitlin of Stitch, Read, Repeat purchased it, and it is Heartstring Samplery's Words to Live By Justice. Super simple chart, just words. Yeah, it is. If only everyone lived by these words, right? I know I certainly try to. So I purchased this. This one I do not have kitted up yet. I did, though, while I was looking for other flosses, find this beautiful floss from Dinky Dye. At my LNS, it is called Harvest. This was the only skein they had left, and I snapped it up, not knowing what I would use it for. I just thought it was really pretty. And again, if you know me, you know autumn is my favorite season, and it's one of my favorite seasons to stitch. So I was like, I'm sure I have some sort of monochromatic, autumnal themed. In fact, I know I have a couple of like Acorn Needlebook charts that are monochromatic that I could use this for. But then I thought, would it work for this? And I'm not sure. I think what worries me about this floss for this is the letters are literally single stitch letters, right? So, you know, they're not, the font is not sort of multiple rows, if that makes sense. You know what I'm trying to say. So I worry that the lighter colors on this floss might get lost on the fabric. So I don't know. Again, if you've got ideas or thoughts of what you think, if you think this floss would work really well, or if you feel strongly it potentially wouldn't. I know part of it would depend on the fabric that I chose. I don't know. Otherwise, I'll probably end up doing like a tone on tone. I do like the simplicity of the model, right? Just a light colored fabric and essentially a black words, but I like color. So anyway, definitely welcome your thoughts on this as well if you have them. And that's it. That's all I have for you today. So thanks for joining me today. Like I said, it's off schedule for me, but I was just so happy about all the stitching that I've been getting done and so excited to share it that I didn't want to wait 2 more weeks. So I do intend to still come back at the end of September for my regular sort of monthly schedule, and I guess we'll just sort of see how things evolve. But as always, I will close my video, as I always do, by saying thank you for watching. Hug your loved ones, take care of yourself, and happy stitching. Bye.